Hello and welcome back to Cocktails and Counterspells, our little Magic the Gathering podcast, hangout, chat, conversational thing that me, Dan and Hailey do. It's been a minute. Life is one of those things where we do things and it gets in the way of everything else. But we're back, we're here. We have filming another episode and we have very interesting topics to talk about and cocktails to show off and fun things and stuff magic related-ish to chit chat about. Hi guys, how's it going? Wow, in sync with those drinks then.
We're twins.
We're great. We are twins.
Same brain.
It's been good. I think since the last time we've been able to sit down, we all have gone to different also magic events as well too, which has been super fun to trade stories on.
Yeah.
It's been good. Good.
Yeah, same. I haven't played as much Magic as I want to, but you know, that's always
the level is unlimited of want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks, shall we say. We've had we've only had one set drop since the last episode, so wait, have we? It's only been the one, yeah. There's that many.
Yeah, I think just Thunder Junction.
Yeah. just cowboys.
Yeah.
Just cowboys and aliens and cowboys. No wait, that's the really bad Harrison Ford film. Anyone watch that?
Oh yeah.
No, I bet Space Cowboy and Aliens. Was Daniel Craig in that too?
Maybe.
I think it might have been.
Wow.
I think he's like, I'm not James Bond anymore.
Yeah. But yeah.
But that's also the theme of this year with all the Magic releases. Cowboys.
Basically, yeah. Literally Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Weird. And furries. Don't forget we've got furries coming up next.
That's right.
There is an interlude.
Most importantly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The sleeper set.
Thunder Junction came out. That was the thing. It is out. It is the current meta or whatever. How are you guys finding it? You bought some Thunder Junction.
I think it's interesting narrative-wise. I like how they're like pulling from a lot of different planes without it having to be a life-altering event in the Magic metaverse. Like it seems a little lighter than when they had, March of the Machines and everything, where everything was like life or death. I'm like, this is literally just shenanigans, and they're pulling all these villains from everywhere, it's kind of fun to see characters you may not have thought that you would see until they went back to that actual specific plane. Mechanic-wise and stuff, there's nothing that I'm too excited about. I just love that things are called crime. I don't necessarily think crime has to keep happening, but I'm just like, I can't wait to do a crime. It's pretty fun, I would say, so far from my observations. Some interesting stuff out there, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the last, like Karlov Manor and Thunder Junction are both like kind of goofy, fun sets, but I think Thunder Junction does a better job of being goofy and fun. Something about like this weird like Suicide Squad villain era Cowboys thing is like, I don't know. At first, I was like, it's gonna be so dumb, and then they started spoiling the cards, and I was like, never mind, this is amazing. So yeah, I haven't collected a ton of it yet, but it is kind of, I don't know, it's fun. Like every card is kind of hilarious. So it's like opening the packs is fun, even though I don't play a lot of the cards. It's still some like pretty good stuff. And I really like the big score, whatever the hell it's called. The like stuff from the vault.
Yeah.
The, like special cards.
Yeah.
Those are kind of fun too.
Yeah, they're nice.
And I have like a short list of cards I want to try to get to stick in some of my decks that I'm kind of excited about too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I managed to at the convention I was at, the Command Fest I was at in Birmingham the weekend, I managed to pick up a copy of Insatiable Avarice.
Nice.
And I've put that in my children deck. That's a fun card. In terms of new mechanics, that's got the whole spree mechanic. I kind of like the concept behind that. Because it's a card that's committing crimes. But you commit one crime, or you can commit multiple crimes by committing a crime spree. I get it. It's cool. It's fun flavor. Good card. I like it. Like, especially because I put it in Shieldred, because it's basically a tutor that then lets me draw cards as well and pay life. But because I'm drawing cards, I'm gaining a life back, so it doesn't matter. fun card. And then I grabbed a bundle, the bundle box, and managed to pull a Jace Reawakened from it. So
yeah, that looks pretty cool.
A new deck I'm
that
building.
art on that was super nice.
Yeah. The only thing is, I've not looked into the story, the magic story for this set. So I'm still confused why Vraska is normal and not a completed Planeswalker, and why Jace is back as a Planeswalker / is he or was he Ashiok, or who is Ashiok, who is Jace? I've not read into it to know what that's about, and then I know there's Loot, the little critter from League of Legends or whatever it's from. Another universes beyond the universe, whatever.
The unintentional, multiverse crossover.
I actually did read the stories for this one, and I think that's part of why I am enjoying the cards more. I think I might have to do this more in the future. The stories were pretty interesting. I don't know if I would say they were like super good, from like a literary standpoint necessarily, but they were super fun, and it did answer a lot of questions. Like, Jace has been pretending to be Ashiok. Everyone thought he died when he blew up the Silex, but he didn't somehow. And then he found Vraska and took her to his home plane, and then his mom, who's a healer, like healed them.
Oh.
So Jace is still a Planeswalker. He's been pretending to be Ashiok since like some point in Wilds of Eldraine.
Interesting. Okay.
To like get around, basically. And then the loot thing I don't fully understand. I think it's kind of cool that it's like a Fumori, which is like a race of creatures they've talked about in the past. Like one of the first Commander precons was like Ruhan of the Fumori or something like that. So it's like this sort of like multi-dimensional race that I don't think we know a ton about.
I wonder
But other than the fact that he looks like a little freak show, it's kind of like a fun.
I wonder if it's going to be if that loot is going to be the link into Bloomburrow, because we've seen cards from Bloomburrow where Jace is Jace a fox, and then you've got Raz, who's an otter, and stuff like that. So I wonder if this is like where the weird, like, hey, come to this plane / alternate dimension weird thing,
right?
And that's how they start pulling in these new places within the Magic multiverse.
Well, yeah, because they had Keelan kind of like flow through a lot of the stories, and I think they said at ChicagoCon that this was his kind of like last, not feature, like it's not like he's dead, but his last sort of like he's driving. He's
done adventuring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that kind of doing that, kind of having a different character kind of pick up that motif.
Yeah, I think Jace is going to be the poster boy again. He was the poster boy for a while, and I think they're bringing him back because I didn't fully understand this part, but like the reason they wanted Loot in the first place is he has like a map of the multiverse in his head or something, and so Jace can read his mind and read the map that's in his head and go places. I don't know what they're going to do or why, and I don't fully understand how that works, but the furry connection is also like funny too.
Wow, reading the story explains the story.
Yeah.
Right?
Does it though?
No.
I mean, medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show me those cards, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see when they start previewing Bloomburrow, because that's when the story will start coming out as well, won't it? Because we always get the story kind of just before the set drops. We get the final parts of the story as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I heard on the grapevine that, we're now that March of the Machine, the whole Phyrexian thing, and the big, like, since the beginning of Magic story is now over, shall we say. And its catastrophic shite ending. This is now the beginning. Like, Murder at Karlov, I keep saying Markov Manor. At Karlov Manor was like the little, here's just the random set we're going to put out there. And now we're going to start this new era, this new story that they're going to entwine. So, yeah, hopefully, Thunder Junction, Cowboys and Aliens, even though it's a fun set, it's that slow beginning because we have Loot. And if Loot is the key to everything or whatever it's called, Fur is called, then, we have the beginning of the story. It'd be nice to see what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. But again, seeing as it's been a while since we've hung out and chatted and it's been mentioned, how was Magic on Chicago?
It was cool. It was great. I mean, I'll let Dan go first. That was your first con as well, too. So I'm always curious to see how your impression was. It was a great time overall. 10 out of 10 would do again.
Yeah, fully agree. It feels like it was kind of like a long time in the making for me because, like Haley mentioned, it was my first con of any con, and also my first Magic Con. And I've said this before, but I've played Magic for like a billion years, so like to go and actually like do the thing was pretty cool. I was like pretty blown away by just how many people there were and how much stuff there was to do. It was like kind of crazy to like walk in the doors, stand in the sweaty line first in the like basement of that parking garage. That was fucking weird.
Yeah, never again.
But yeah, it was really cool. There were like millions of vendors, tons of artists. That was really fun. Got some signatures, got some prints, got some proofs, played a lot of games. And we got to do one of those mystery events, the unknown events with Gavin. That was awesome. I loved it. I had a great time. We played a lot of Magic outside of the con too. The like House of Blues dance party was also great, which is silly. But it was, yeah, there's like nothing bad about it, except for they ran out of space for playing games like pretty much immediately.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we were fortunate the first day. Like we got a good amount of games in while also checking out the artist vendors. And then the second day was when, I believe it was the second day where we went to the early preview panel where we got to see some of the storylines that were dropping. And it's also the day we did that mystery commander event, or it turned out to be a commander event. Because thank God I don't play another format. I was like, the whole time I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to apologize to everyone I play against because I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it turned out to be commander, which was awesome. But yeah, the second day was harder to get to tables, and then we kind of like were foraging around looking for spots where I'm like, here's a table that like maybe we can just sit here and we can entice people to play, and other people had that idea. So that was the only sort of thing the second day. But we met a lot of cool people. We played a lot of cool games. That was fun. I think I didn't leave there thinking like, oh, I wish I had done more of this. It was a really good balance. So
same, yeah,
it was fun. It was good. That was the first con I had been to that was like specified on one hobby. I've been to like New York Comic Con where it's just overstimulation of every fandom you could imagine. So it was kind of nice to see one that was just focused on one thing. But it was good. It was a good time.
Nice.
Danced our way into the hearts of Chicago.
Seriously, I just the other day was deleting numbers from my phone of people we met at the House of Blues. We would like dance with people for a little while, and they're like, "You're cool. We should play tomorrow." We're like, "Yeah!" And then we would like exchange numbers. We didn't play with any of them or see any of them ever again.
Nope. Absolutely did not. It was a good time. Yeah. How about you? How was Commander Fest?
So yeah, Commander Fest was good. That was my first Commander. Oh well, no, my first Magic event / convention I've been to, because I've been to tabletop conventions before. And they're always, again, overstimulating, a million and one things going on. This was smaller. This was definitely not like a big place. It was in was in a cricket stadium. So
nice.
Yeah. So there were people playing cricket in the middle whilst that we could watch. But it was like across, I want to say it was like two large like conference rooms in terms of size. Well, one was a conference room, one was a very long corridor. But very wide. It was weird. In the main room was where all the organized play events were, all the drafts, the sealed drafts and everything going on in there, as well as you had the main like card vendors and trade stuff going on in there, and the prize wall and stuff like that. And then the other side, the corridor area, that's where we had artists, smaller vendors. That's where the creator corner was. And then like free play tables and like food and stuff. So it was small in that regard, but it was busy. It was full. It was fun. It was cool. Yeah, I only went down for the day because it's like a couple hours drive away from me. So I just thought I'll go down for the day, scope it out. I went to do trades. I went to trade cards for a key card, and I managed to do that. And I got the card and more, which was nice. I was hoping to get enough money so that the card I was after wouldn't cost too much, but I got more than the value of the card, so I managed to get other cards as well. So that was fun. And that was my first time doing like a Magic trade as well, which was different. And it was like I went to like a very, a known vendor. It was a Tokyo MTG. Really cool company. Went there, sat down, like they were going through my cards and putting them. They had like a playmat out that had like values on. So put the stack of the cards. Like, ooh.
Pretty cool.
Yes, you're like watching it happen in real time.
Yeah, like, oh.
It's like, okay, cool.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, it was fun. And I got to play a few games of Commander with some peoples and hang out with Callum, also known as Voidborn, sponsor of the channel.
Awesome.
He was there. It was fun. But yeah, it was cool. It was different. It was a lot more relaxed than a lot of the big kind of tabletop conventions I've been to in the past. So it's definitely, I would say, like, as a Magic convention. I mean, again, I'm going to be in Amsterdam in June for Magic on Amsterdam, so that's probably going to be a completely different vibe altogether to what I was just at. But for an event / convention, it was a very nice chilled vibe. So it was cool. I liked it. Yeah, and I kept mentioning I was doing a trade to show the camera.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Big boy Grim model.
So cool.
And it is now double sleeved and in a deck. I never thought I would put a card of that value in the deck, but it is there. Because why not? I bought it.
You gotta play it. You gotta play it. It's too cool.
Seriously.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. I'm looking forward to Amsterdam. I still need to have a look at what events have space left because most things are sold out. But I'm gonna look at booking a couple of the actual like registered events to do, and then everything else is just gonna be, I'm just gonna wing it and play it by ear.
Yeah.
For the rest of it, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that was kind of our plan too for Chicago. We only signed up for the mystery events, and then I think the second day when they switched half of the free play tables to like ticketed commander, like find a pod type deals, and then a couple of people we met they like bought into one of those so we could play. But other than that, like, yeah, that definitely, I mean, for me that felt like more than enough. So I say great plan.
Yeah, I played in some of the ticketed events. I thought I hadn't realized about them, like, you know, being a convention new, I didn't realize that was a thing, but I kind of liked the idea. Because what I found here was it was 2 tickets to play a game of Commander, and then you got prize tickets just for playing.
Oh, nice!
The game.
Yeah,
you had the option of you could go winner takes all or just take tickets. So, and it was about, I think you got 20 tickets for playing the game, 20 prize wall tickets, or you could do it was something like 80 tickets, winner takes all if you wanted with the group. But the groups I played in were like, we're fine, we're playing casual, so we'll just take our own.
Yeah.
And the price to play 2 games of Commander ticketed, the prize tickets I got back just for playing those were enough to buy, were on for the prize wall to get 4 booster packs, or it was like 2 Ravnica remastered packs, which had a retail value of the price I paid to play the games anyway.
Right, yeah. So
it's
you're
like,
making your money anyways.
So basically buy 4 booster packs, play 2 games of Commander.
Seems like a good deal.
So yeah, so it's decent, so it's good. And plus, because I went there as a solo, and like I am to Amsterdam as well, you know, it was good because I didn't go there with anyone to play with.
Right,
so those ticketed events are really good, to get put into a pod, and it's, you know, it's a really cool setup. And I got to use the Magic the Gathering companion app, which was great. Like, I entered the code, it did nothing. I don't know what the point was.
Yeah, I always do it when I go to the local game stores, but I don't know what it does.
Well, I guess to piggyback on that, we ahead of time got the fan pop or read pop app for Chicago, and like even like a week or a few days up to it, like it was not developed.
It was totally useless.
And I think
it still said Vegas all over it, right?
Yeah, they hadn't like reskinned it yet.
Wow.
So it was all stuff from Vegas, and when it was kind of up and running, it was mostly just like a schedule of where things were. But like if you tried to input like the things you signed up for, it wasn't the best. But it also, like, if you walked around, you could find it because it was mostly all just on one level. So I think if it was in a convention hall where it had to like split the events or the activities, like if you're relying on that app, it's not.
Yeah, good.
I think it might be Reed Pop because I've had that experience with New York City Comic Con too.
Yeah.
And they host that, and
Interesting.
it's basically just a schedule that you could have pulled up on a website.
Mhm.
So if that's the
Yeah.
only parting advice I can give to you, don't rely on whatever
Yeah.
app they have
No.
for Magic
Ignore the app.
Amsterdam.
No.
It won't do anything.
Not helpful.
Yeah,
Put that in the notes.
Yeah, I'll go back to paper schedules. Just
Yeah.
print stuff out and hope
Yeah.
for the best.
Right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was well organized though. Like once you got in there, like you knew where
It
stuff
was, yeah.
like so
Definitely.
it definitely like was it. I just thought it was pretty funny. They were like, download this app right now and it's gonna help you. And I go,
Yep. Yeah, because for a while they made
And
it
they
seem like you needed to have the app.
I thought everything had to be loaded on the app, and they were like, no,
Not
also
true.
just have the email of your confirmation. I'm like, oh, good thing I didn't delete that from 3 months ago.
Yeah, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, if you sign up for a ticketed event and they send you a QR code, keep it. Because you
Do
need
not-
that to sign up to like get in.
Yeah. Pro
All
tips for
their
anyone.
Yeah.
Pro tips for convention noobs: do not delete anything.
Yep.
Do not delete.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Do not lose your jacket ticket.
Yeah, don't do that either.
I will not give you your jacket back.
Unless you beg.
Yeah. Flash some cash.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to MagicCon and more events and stuff. And I plan to as well do the Bloomberg pre-release at my local LGS. I've not done a pre-release before,
Nice.
so
Hell yeah.
Ooh, yeah,
So fun.
that'd be
So,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I've never done one. Maybe the furries. Maybe.
For
there
the
is where
furries.
it all begins. It's a gateway, I hear.
That's what I heard.
Oh god.
Well, yeah. But on that note, we're gonna move on. We're gonna change topics slightly, and still keep it professional as we have done. We're not at all. We're gonna talk about.
Always.
I know. We're gonna talk about power levels because Hailey runs some very powerful decks, and we need to understand how they are so powerful and how we can combat that.
I do? That's gotta be a joke. I thought I ran jank decks as opposed to last episode.
Yeah.
Can I both?
I don't know. The last
Everything's
time me and you
relative.
played Hailey, that our decks synergized in the worst way possible.
That's true. I think that might be my sweet spot. I'll have like one or two things that work really well, so you're deceived. You're like, Hailey, this is a mess. Then I go, surprise, Helm of the Host, Aurelia. Pop, pop, pop.
But yeah, power levels. Like how do you calculate a power level? Like
Yeah, I'm curious, Danny, how did you find like picking your decks for your pods in Birmingham? Did you guys talk about it?
yeah, so before we like, do we want a casual game? You know, what sort of power level are people picking? That was a question. I was like, I've got stuff that I think's aggressive, and I took Shielded with me because I was like, you never know, someone might want to play against a
You got
Shielded deck.
Keep it in your back pocket
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I class Shielded as my most powerful deck. I don't know if it is. You know, the random online power level calculators say that Shielded is a 7.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, maybe it
'Cause
isn't. I don't know.
The algorithm doesn't lie ever.
Well,
Nope.
if Shielded is a 7, she's a slow 7. Because yes, it has some big powerful cards in there, but like it takes me fucking forever to get anything out. By the time I do
Right.
get it out, I'm already target number 1 because I've had Shielded out for 2-3 turns. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when I played at Command Fest, it was because, you know, do you want a casual game? And it's like, I've got this deck that's kind of like, I don't know, mid is probably the word I would use. Like, rather than be
Right.
like, oh, it's a 4 or a 5 or a 6 or whatever, it's like, it's a mid-range deck. Like, I've got a
Yeah.
high-level deck, a mid-range deck, and a low-level deck. Like, that's the power level I can kind of hone in at. And I ended up playing... In 2 games, I played Dogmeat and Lacer Shroud of Dusk.
Nice.
Yeah. And Dogmeat was great until one of the people we played with, who was like, oh yeah, let's play 7s. And everyone else was like, let's play 5s. And then he played Solemnity, and Dogmeat did nothing at that point.
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
be sat
So
there
unfortunate.
chained to the ground.
Yeah.
Solemnity is a card that I didn't know about until I played in that game, and then I'm like, I understand.
You'll never forget it though.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I guess, I mean, yeah, do any of you make decks with like power level in mind? I can just say up front, I don't, because I also don't know how to calculate power level. Like, the closest I can get to think that I'm being intelligent about making decks is I'm like, is this a fast deck or is this a slow deck? And I sometimes equate that
Right.
to like, oh, this is a powerful deck because I can go fast,
Mm.
which isn't always the case, but that's the
Right.
closest I've ever come to actually consciously thinking about what my deck is doing
Hmm.
against others and not just within itself.
Mm.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like incredibly confusing, and I think that I haven't had too many like bad experiences necessarily, but I think a lot of people are really bad at evaluating their own decks, and worse at describing them.
Mm.
Just that's like kind of the experience I've had. So I kind of, at least when I'm thinking about my decks or having like the rule zero conversation, like I never reference a number. Like we joke all the time about the power level calculator. Like all of my decks, according to the power level calculator, are between 1 and 5, and most of my decks are 2s or 3s. Which like I don't think that's true.
No,
I play with
I wouldn't.
decks,
No,
you
I
know,
wouldn't.
like
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so I think what you guys are saying about like how fast your deck is, I think that's like a great metric for like power level. Something I mentioned to people too is like how annoying the deck is. Like if the main strategy is something that like people don't usually like, I mention that as part of the power level, even if it's not like a good deck. If it does an annoying thing that like is like pseudo power level points. And I always tell people if I have cards in my deck that hose their entire strategy. Like if I was the guy with the Solemnity against your dog meat deck, I would have fucking told you before the game started and been like, is that cool? There's a possibility I could shut off your whole deck. And if you were like, well, no, it's a precon, I just got it, I want to play it, I'd be like, cool, I'll switch. You know, like that is definitely a factor for me. But I guess I come at it from the angle of like I always want everyone to have fun. I don't play super competitively, so that's my angle on power level is like what's going to be like the best mix for everyone to have a good time. Like whoever wins, I don't really care, but
yeah, I get that. I'd agree with that kind of statement. Like, yeah, I think from conversations that I've had in the past about power level, it's been a case of, you know, how many turns till your deck can win. You know, what's your win rate in terms of like how fast can you get that to that win con? Is how some people determine their power level and such. But yeah, it's like I find, you know, if you think you've got a high powered deck, or if you're wondering if it's high powered, it's like, does it have fast ramp? Does it have infinite combos? Does it have combo like multiple win con combo pieces in there? You know, does it have a Lion's Eye Diamond? Does it have a Lotus Petal? Does it have a Mana Crypt? Okay, it's a CEDH deck. Go away. That's different, because that seems to be all CDH too.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've got these like fast ramp mana rocks, and you've got infinite combos, and you've got, you know, turn 3 win conditions and stuff like that, then yeah, you're playing high powered Magic. You know, if it's a deck that, you know, you can play 3 lands, and then when you get to that point, you're like, what do I do next? It's probably more low level, you know?
Yeah. I have a few decks that will have win cons in them, but I don't typically play with tutors, and I'll tell people that too if I'm playing a deck where I have something where I'm like, I could do this, but I don't have a tutor, so if it happens, it happens, but you'll probably see it coming from a mile away. So I also, if I had built the deck to be something where I'm actively searching for things, or have put the correct amount of lands in to do that, yeah, maybe they'd be higher up. But a lot of times it's like, it has the potential to be mean, but I'm not looking for it.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I've definitely, that's something that's usually like phase 2 of the conversation with for me. Like normally I will like describe my decks, what they do, how fast they are. And if we still can't like figure it out, then I share those like statistics. Like pretty much none of my decks, I don't play fast mana, I don't play tutors, and I pretty much never play infinite combos. But I have had experiences where I share that information and everyone's like, all right, cool, so your deck sucks. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. And they're like, all right, I'll play my worst deck. And I'm like, all right. And then I like cook the whole pod because like my decks are tuned, like I'm not here to do nothing. And they're like, what? You said it was bad. And I was like, no, I fucking didn't. You didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's like a layer two is like the language is not like consistent either. And I think the 1 out of 10 scale is like really like one of the worst things that has happened to the conversation. Because everyone thinks their deck is a 7, and like no one's deck is below a 4. That's impossible. Like you'd have to have no cards in it, like it doesn't make any sense. So really when you're talking about like the power scale, it's like between like 6 and 8 is like the range, but like no one uses decimals obviously. So like
well, that's what I mean.
The range between the
be different from somebody else's 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my Gisa and Geralt deck is, I think, a 5 on the arbitrary calculator, but it is so slow. Like it is my slowest deck. So like I've like done well with it situationally, and it's a fun deck to play. I don't play it just because of a number, but it's definitely different than if someone was playing a mono red 5 deck where it's like burn, 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 and like
exactly.
It's also it's hard to put a number to that as well too when there's so many other factors based off your card structure, the color structure. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think one thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is like people in the past have classed like precons as like bad. Precon is like the base level of what a deck can be. That is not the case anymore. Like maybe the precons used to be bad, and I definitely have played with some that are kind of dumb, but like the new precons fucking slap. So it's like, oh, I'm playing a precon. It's like, all right, well, which one is it? Because
tell me first. Yeah.
Some of them are so good.
Yeah. Especially when they sneak them in. They're not intentionally sneaking in there, but I feel like maybe sometimes someone at Magic is like looking at the 4 that they might release with the set, and there's one that like later on they're like, oh,
why did we do that? Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. And especially people who get it like for $40 to start, and then like a year from now you're like, it's $150.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's like there's one I've seen going around in conversation. The new Spellslinger one in Thunder Junction. Is it one?
That one. Celery.
Yeah. I've heard people say that's like the first CEDH precon because it's that powerful and that quick. I was like, wow. Like shit.
Yeah, it does. The commander has like some infinite combos, which like if your commander's half of your combo, then it's like a 1-card combo because all you have to do is draw the 1 card or do the 1 card, and then you can win. But yeah, it's crazy that they do that.
It's crazy that I bought that.
Yeah. Can't wait to get Spellsling to death.
No, I actually switched. I switched her for the alternate commander, so. We'll see.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, they do that too. Like the commanders, and they have like multiples in there. Totally changes the deck.
Yeah, because I've got the Dogmeat one, and the alternate commander for that is Preston Garvey, which then enchants all your lands, and then you can start untapping lands during combat and stuff like that, and you can get pretty crazy with that one.
Yeah.
It's nice that they did that though. Like give you that.
What would you say? Yeah, what would you say a precon level wise is? Either before the Renaissance or the Enlightenment of precons, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at least from what I have seen, like precons used to be like 4s or 5s. If you're using the 1 out of 10 scale, they're definitely not anymore. Because I mean, if I have to use this scale, I would say my decks are between like 5s and 8s, and I will get shit on by some precons for sure. Like I played with some like new people, and they're like, I just have this precon, and I'm like, which one is it? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's unfortunate that this is impossible. It'd be nice if they were all consistent, and like a consistent power level. That's kind of impossible to make or figure out, and it depends on who's playing them. Yada yada yada. There's so many factors, but it just like it adds no clarity to the conversation.
Yeah.
Which is, whatever. But
and I would say as well, it probably makes that kind of, rule zero conversation that we have, because kind of like we're talking power levels, we're also talking about, the rule zero conversation with this, because it's something that when picking power level is an important thing to have. with precons being, some of these new precons being so powerful, it's making that rules of conversation hard, because you get new players coming in with a precon going, hey, I'm new to the game, I've bought this precon, and you have the conversation. They're like, oh, I'm new, it's a precon. You're like, cool, okay, no worries. I'll play this deck because it's an easy one to understand. Blah blah blah. You play it and you're like, okay, turn 2, I'm dead.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay.
At the same time, it's fun because it's a precon and it's a new player who's winning turn 2. But at the same time,
it is nice. Based on my experience, most people are not like malicious about it. So, mismatched power levels are usually not that big of a deal because whoever did it feels bad about it.
Yeah.
It's like, and it also, we play together a lot. So we like have ideas of what our decks do, like if you have like a consistent pod, power level's a lot easier to figure out, I think.
Yeah.
But like if I go play with random people, a strong chance like the first game we play is going to be like a total crapshoot because the conversation is hard and confusing. So it definitely, I think that, in my opinion, is where a lot of like the people get like a little salty about it, because you play with new people and it's hard to explain what your deck does if you haven't, like it's hard if you haven't seen it.
You're meeting a picture.
Exactly. Yeah, like I've definitely, like we had one of the games we played in Chicago, I played my Galta deck, which is like mono green big creatures, which I think is pretty good, but it's just like big dumb green creatures. And I remember at one point, like one of the guys across the table, like he hit me with like a Gonti or something, so he got to look at some cards in my library, and he was like flipping cards over, and he was like, "What the fuck is all this?"
I had that happen to me. Yeah, I had that happen to me at Command Fest. I was playing my later Shroud of Dust deck, and one of the guys I was playing against, I don't even know what it was. He had something where, depending on the damage he hit, he could pull cards from my library, and they became 2/2 just blockers on his board. And at one point, I think he took 18 off me at once, and I gave it, and he was like, "Okay," so he just grabbed I just fed out a stack of 18 cards, given to him, and he's like, "Okay, they're 2/2 blockers," and he's like, "I'm gonna look at what these are," and he's like, "What the fucking hell is this deck?" It's like that Draneth Magistrate, Avacyn, Angel of Hope. It's like the fucking Bloodletter. It's like, what? I'm like, yeah,
right.
I guess that kind of leads to like post-game conversations too, like after you may have had I'm gonna assume ideally mostly like an unintentional miscommunication of like, oh yeah, we're playing the same thing, and then you like look at the deck and then you're like, what the hell is this? Like, my guy, you said it was this, and you're like,
right,
maybe in that person's head it is that,
Yeah, so I think, in my opinion, I think then the power levels, and like the more you play together and the more you talk about it, the easier it is to regulate. So like in that situation, like game 2 is going to be different, because then I have a better idea of what you think a 7 is, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny though.
I feel like they created the number system to be like, okay, it'll be easier for people to have conversations.
Yeah.
It's now kind of harder.
Totally.
Everyone will be on the same page, and we're like, no, we also do not think of numbers the same way, apparently.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, God. Fine, I only run 10s, so
Yeah, I am curious though. Do you guys have any good stories of like mismatched power level games?
No, I mostly play with you guys. I'm trying to think if I've had any like. Yeah, I think the one and only time I've really got to play at a local game store, because there aren't many by me, I played with a friend of mine and his friend. So like I knew this person, but we had never played Magic before. And I was genuinely still new. It was like one of my first times playing in person. So I was like very nervous. We played 2 games and I beat both of them. And I was like, this can't be. These are like some of my first decks. I was like, wait a minute. Which was just a testament to like everyone who taught me how to play. But they were like, oh, okay, like you don't know how to play yet. Your decks are whatever. And I had Gisa and Garrof. I think what did I have? I had Gisa and Garrof at the time, which was unintentionally like an upgrade pre-con of them.
Right.
And then I had a mono black Drana, who at the time didn't have any win cons, but had been very singular in terms of like attack, build counters, go fight, win. And they were like, okay, like she's not gonna play these the way that they're supposed to be played. And I was like, well, joke's on you. I've only played these 2 decks. It's all I know. I know how to play them. If you gave me your deck, yeah, I'd just be sitting there not knowing how to read. But
Right.
yeah. So I think that's the only time that it happened. But I think it was more so an accidental, like, white man can't jump them. They're like, she's new, she's fine. And then I was like, bam! Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. That wasn't intentional. I haven't had it happen in the reverse to me yet.
Right.
I have.
Really? Oh, yeah, tell us more.
I was playing a game. It was a spell table game with a friend and some of their friends, and it was like they were saying, you know, we it's a casual game, but we're playing some slightly like higher power casuals. Like, okay, cool. It's like, I'm gonna bring Shieldred. This is my what I class as my most powerful deck. I'll play that against your stuff. It was like cool, and it was like Thalia and Gitrog, Volrath the Fallen, and I'm sure the guy said it was a precon, but there's no way it was an upgraded precon. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because by like turn 3, everyone but me was playing dual lands, and I was like, this is CEDH, and I've never done this before.
Right.
And things went fast in that game. But I managed to get shielded out in time, and you know, everyone got pissed.
Nailed it.
But Thalia and Gitrog absolutely trounced everyone in the end. It was and that was my friend's deck, and they had like 4 dual lands, 3 or 4, I don't know. They had dual lands out. They had crazy old school stuff there. There was mana crypts being thrown around. I was like, oh my god, like
just left and right.
That was like my first kind of foray into experiencing like the competitive level of things. It turns out after chatting to him afterwards in the post-game conversation, my friend's a tattooist, so they have tattooist money, which is fast money in the Magic world, and they all play together in a tattoo shop, and they all started playing Casual Commander, and slowly they were buying more powerful cards, and the creep got to the point where Casual Commander in the shop just turned into CEDH but casual.
Right.
I was like, okay, this is like next league.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But it was a fun game. It was a fun game. It was challenging, but it was still fun. But then knowing that afterwards, I was like, okay, I now know the kind of speed of the game, so I'll play one of my other decks that I don't consider to be my most powerful, but it is a faster deck. And I found doing that kind of balanced things out a little bit better. And again, because, you know, as we've been saying, maybe it's a case of power level isn't just on a number basis, it's how fast the deck's going to play against other decks.
Yep.
You know? So yeah, it was a very steep learning curve, but I got to see people playing dual lands, and that was really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think that does bring up a pretty interesting point about power level 2. I've heard some people use like the cost of the deck as a measure of power level 2. I do that sometimes, especially with like my brother. We play together a lot. And so this mostly happens when we're like playtesting. He's like, I got a new deck to try. And I'm like, cool, how much does it cost? You know, it's like if it's $700, I play a deck against it that's better. You know, if it's like $180 deck, that's different. If it's like a sub 50 budget deck, that's different. So it's like, I don't think it's a great measure, especially with secret layers and shit now. Like you can have very expensive versions of not good cards, which are awesome. I love them, but it's just more confusing. But if your deck is expensive because it's filled with like dual lands and mana crypts and shit, like that is generally like a fairly good indicator of the power.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's also a weird one for people you don't know. Sit down at the table at the local game store and be like, this deck is $600 fucking dollars. What do you guys got? Like,
or boldly ask, like, how much do you pay for your deck?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
You got to put some more money in that shit.
Yeah. But at the same time, that is a thing that is currently going around, is that, you know, if you want to get to that competitive level, you've got to pay for it. It's a pay to play situation, because like I've seen, I mean, hopefully there's going to be a turning, a change in the tide. That does change, but like competitive Magic is Mana Crypt, Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Pearl. It's not that expensive, but you know the Lotuses, Mana Vaults. It's dual lands. It's all these. It's expensive cards that people are always utilizing. It's like that's if you want to get into that and play to win, you know, and be an adversary in that game that's, you know, at a similar level, you have to be able to afford those cards sometimes.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of CDH tournaments are proxy friendly, so that you don't have to be like independently wealthy, which is nice. Yeah. Proxies are like another avenue too, like that's like a weird power level thing sometimes too. Like we played against a couple of people who played Proxies in Chicago, and they like asked up front, they were like really cool about it, but then like the guy turn one like fetched for a fucking scrub land, and I was like, oh, those kind of Proxies.
You're good with my new deck.
I guess in my mind too, I did not, I learned that day, but I was thinking Proxies, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just gonna be like cool art, or like maybe just like one or two cards that they were like, oh, I really want this for my deck, and then they're like, the whole thing is a proxy, and it's not just because it looks cool. Like,
yeah. So that, I mean, and some people get pretty pissed about that. You know, like we make proxies for fun, so like, and I don't really care about them that much. Like, I know people who use proxies in their decks because it doesn't make a ton of sense to buy like multiple versions of like $100 card.
Yeah.
Just like, well, you know, whatever, do your thing. But it is like shocking if you like pull up some CEDH lists in Mockfield and look at the price tag, they're fucking insane. Yeah. And if you were to like, if you cared about having real cards, like you'd have to, you like trade your card in for a deck, you know, like
take out a loan.
Yeah.
People do that. It's like I'm currently building my Volrath the Shapestealer deck, and I've got proxies in there, you know, and I've got like, I'll let you guys know because I'll probably be testing it on you guys. There is a proxy Gaia's Cradle in there. There is like a ton of proxy Moxes in there, so it's gonna be crazy. But again, I've put them in because I have proxies, because you know our wonderful channel sponsor Voidborn is a purveyor of very, very nice looking proxies, tokens, playmats, everything like that, and they just so happened in the last drop there was a lot of cool proxies, including a limited run Gaia's Cradle. So it's like, I'm never going to see a real Gaia's Cradle in my life. So I've got a proxy of one, so let me put it into this deck just to see how that card actually interacts in a game of Magic, because I will never experience it any other way. Yeah. And then as you know, I play the deck, I'll slowly swap out some of the proxies, potentially for the real versions, the cheaper ones, as I get used to the deck and I enjoy the deck. If I don't enjoy the deck, then I'll be swapping the crazy proxies out for cards that are better synergize. But it's like, why not? I have proxies of them that I could play, so let's put them in as I brew and just mess around as I get to know the deck as I build it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, especially if you're intentionally building like a high powered deck, like why the fuck would you buy a $3,000 Gaia's Cradle to fucking test the deck?
And it's one of those,
crazy.
And it's one of those, if I'm gonna build a CEDH deck or just a high powered deck that I only intend to play with my friends anyway, and not do tournaments, then why not buy a proxy instead of paying stupid money for the real card just to play it with my friends? My friends don't care that I'm playing proxies, so you know, why not?
Definitely.
Which means we should all build CEDH decks.
I mean, I'm down. I already have some in mind that I'm it's on my list of things to do, because I do think that's an interesting, this might be like a totally separate topic, but I think that there's a huge difference personally between high power EDH and CEDH. I think like CEDH has its like own defined meta and like
grading scale.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's like a different mindset, at least from what I've seen. It's like if you're playing CEDH, like every single thing, sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. Every single thing you do is to fucking win, right? And so like it's like a totally different mindset, deck building strategy, different card pool, all that stuff. Like even we talked earlier a little bit about that Stella Lee Precon, is it Precon? Which is very good. And I think you can probably make it a CDH deck because the commander's a combo enabler. But the deck lists between like the high power casual version and the CDH version are probably very different. Which is like, that's, I think, a totally different power level conversation. You probably don't even have a power level conversation in CDH. You just assume everyone's going to do the most fucked up shit possible at all times.
As nasty as possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the intention. Like, they're all agreeing,
right,
hey, we're doing this. That's what I mean.
Right.
You're not making a CDH deck or playing a CDH deck to be like, yeah, I want to do this one cool thing. Like, the one cool thing is winning, and winning is
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I actually
casual. It's like, yeah, I don't know, if I do this would be kind of cool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I actually watched a video earlier today. I don't remember where it was. It was either YouTube or Instagram Reels or somewhere. But someone in it, they were talking about CDH versus Casual Commander, and very good quote from it. I don't remember who it was. If I find out who, I'll put it in the description. But it was a case of Casual Commander, high level, low level, whatever, you win on the battlefield, but in CDH you win on the stack.
Yeah, totally.
Which is,
so true.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Interesting,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, because that's the way. Like, CDH is its own complete. It is a completely different format to casual, because you're doing so many things during your turn that none of it actually hits. Like, a lot of the time, nothing hits the battlefield in terms of, like, you're not winning by putting a big creature into play. You're winning by doing this thing that interacts with that thing, that interacts with that thing, that interacts with that thing.
Yeah.
And then you combo off and you've won. It's like CDH is closer to Yu-Gi-Oh than Yu-Gi-Oh is to Pokemon.
Right. Totally.
Damn.
There's the difference. There's the difference. Casual Commander is Pokemon. CDH is Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's awesome.
Jesus, yeah. That's great.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that is funny. That is a really good point, though. I think, like, because combos are more efficient, because it's way easier to just win than it is to kill 3 other people. Like, generally. And that is, we did, right, exactly. Like, we didn't mention this in the beginning, but one of the things I tell people when we talk about power levels is I tell people I don't play infinite combos. Because in my experience, those are the things that make people, like, the most salty. Like, even if you are playing a low level deck, if you have a combo in it that wins you the game, it's kind of like everyone's like having a good time, and then it's like, oh, sorry everyone, I win. It's like, what? Like, that tends to make people, like, a little upset.
Yeah.
So that's always part of, like, the power level conversation for me. How just because it's nice to know how people feel about it. I think it's important to have those things sometimes so that the games fucking end, because sometimes they go really long.
Yeah.
But it does feel shitty sometimes if it's like, surprise, we're done.
Yeah, I get that. Like, it's like, I don't mind people, like, if I'm playing casual and not playing CDH, like, I don't mind people having combos that can pop off and do cool things, because everyone wants to have a fun time and do cool things. But
do a moment.
If it's one of those combos where it's a case of, oh, I play this, I've won the game. It's like, what? It's like, hold on a minute. I'd rather be like, I play this, which means I'm going to be able to do this, which will win the game, but you have a chance to counter that or stop that.
Yeah.
Try and defend against this crazy thing that I can now do, rather than I play this, it's done. Bye.
I think that also kind of ties into, like, if you're the type of player who will also tell the person that, because I know I'll be upfront about
for sure.
it. Like, if I have something where I'm like, you could stop it, but if you don't, I might just win. I'm gonna let you know up front, like, and if you don't want to do that, I can put this away. I have a bunch of other terrible decks I can play. Don't worry, I've got plenty.
And that's something I think you're
like ahead of time too. Like, this could happen, but like, I'm also letting you know, but you can also in the moment see it too.
Yeah, like, I think about how you always tell everyone about Danny DeVito and Exquisite Blood, that's in your Drana deck.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, everybody fucking knows. If we see one of those, you gotta pay attention.
Yeah, it's kind of like yellow card.
Yeah, exactly.
Good red card me. But if one of them's out, you never know. I won't tutor for it, so there's also that caveat. Yeah. Oh, Danny DeVito.
What a guy.
He's a sub above,
Yeah.
I have that combo, the Sanguine Blood and Sanguine Blood and Exquisite Blood combo. It's like if I play one of those cards, it's like I'll always say beforehand, I have these cards in my deck. So if I'm going to play one of them, I'm going to be attempting for the other one. So it's like, okay, that's it's time to keep watching and start strategizing against that. Which is fair,
true too. Like, I'm going to be the player. Like, I'm not going to play this until I have the other piece. I'm not going to leave this person in no man's land.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that to be totally reasonable. I mean, even like the alternative is totally reasonable. It's just, you just got to make sure everybody's on board, I guess, Like I've had the experience where I played with people who are like, oh, this deck can do this, but it's inconsistent, and they're like absolutely sandbagging it, and it's like turn 5 infinite turns combo, and I'm like, all right, I guess you get your win now. We'll change our decks, you asshole.
Yeah.
Like, why you got to do that?
If it was so important to you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. People are weird. That's like also a huge factor for me. It's like just you're dealing with people, and who the fuck knows what's going on in their heads.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's in their decks.
Regardless of what number is said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say
Numbers
all
are
my
imaginary.
decks are 3s from now on.
Whatever. They're all 3s.
They're all 3s.
Yeah, I've definitely started ever since we started joking about this power level calculator. I have been like considering just like sharing that information. It's like this deck is a 1. Like
this deck is a 1, and I didn't take any suggestions of making it a toxic deck, so it really is a 1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like recently you guys got to experience my new reanimator deck that I just got. The power level calculator says that's a 3 out of 10.
Really? Interesting.
I cried, so I don't know if I took that into account.
Yeah, that should be like an extra category. You put your cards and then how many times your friends have cried playing against it.
How many times they've bemoaned, like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are a few decks that I've put in where I'm like, that's definitely lower than I thought it would be. Or decks where I'm like, oh, that's fine. And they're like, this is the best deck you've ever made. And I go,
right.
All right, okay. I don't know. Just I trust in the heart of the cards, They don't have a calculator for that.
No.
Again,
if you're not put it, a calculator could say the deck's an 8, and you're like, oh, amazing, this is the best deck ever. And then you start playing, it's like you've shuffled all your lands to the bottom of the library. It's like, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Because unless you draw the deck right, then you're just never going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a funny thing too. There's like obviously there's variance in the game. Not every game's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that sometimes with my witch tribal deck. I play that against you guys all the time because I think it's fun, but it's like there's not like a ton of synergy, but there is some. So like sometimes I draw the synergistic cards and then I'm like, oh fuck, I said this deck was bad. And then sometimes I draw the bad cards and then I'm not lying. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like my Eldrazi deck. I've got like my Crufix Secret Eldrazi deck. It's not got, there's not like a ton of crazy synergies. It's just massive Eldrazi. That's the whole point, is that I've got cards that are like that cost 12, cost 11, cost 10. It's like, that's great. I need to try and get those cards out. So I have a lot of like land synergy. I've got like the Tron lands in there with the extras and stuff that start making all the crazy mana. So it's like I can do that. It's like I've got the decks there, the deck's built, the deck's a decent power level for doing that. But then I draw nothing but high powered creatures into my hand. It's like, I can't cast any of these because I have no mana.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then I start having to discard high level Eldrazi just so I can try and get the mana into my hand.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Those decks are hard to evaluate. Like, especially if you're playing like big mana decks, like, because it's not necessarily like fast. Maybe it's not like super powerful, but like, if you drop a couple of fucking Ulamogs on the table, it's like, okay, this is different now.
Yeah.
I do always think about Danny playing against your Toxrill deck and how it's just like a game of like counting your lands every turn. It's like 5? Okay, I can cast some spells.
Yeah, you're good. You're good for two more turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it gets to that point where everyone's like, you're counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 until I can cast it. And then it gets to that point where I stop drawing lands. I'm like,
Yep.
Yeah.
and everyone's like, oh, he's teasing us now. He's teasing us now. I was like, no. Just
Yep.
edging myself as I have no land. Toxel's fun. I like Toxel.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, he's casual. I just need to find a way to give all my tokens infect, because then I can make all my slugs infect, and then that'd be fun.
Real. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you don't have Triumph with the Hordes because that's green. Otherwise, I don't know.
I'm gonna make that a -1 deck on the power level.
Never play this deck.
Ugh.
I need to look at my Toxel deck. I don't know if I remember recently upgrading it, but I don't remember what I added, so I need to look at it again before I play it.
Mhm.
Because I need to get Toxel out quicker and keep him out. The problem with a lot of my decks is I get my commander out and then everyone destroys it straight away.
Yeah, it does. You do play a lot of boogeyman decks,
Yeah.
which I fully respect about you, and I love it because then I never have to think about who I'm going to attack first. I'm always attacking, and it's always fucking Danny. Because if you don't die, you're going to fucking play Atraxa.
I mean...
Yeah, but I think that's a strategy in itself. Some people will have a commander where they build the whole deck around it. And sometimes the commander is like so good, where it's like, no, the minute that card, like, forget about the rest of your deck. The minute that card is out, get the hell out of here.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good chunk of your commanders, Danny.
Yeah.
I'm like, do not come here. Do not put this card out.
Right. And those decks, I think too. I think you do a good job of actually explaining the power level of your decks, but those decks are hard to also evaluate and explain because people play against them and they know what the cards do. So it's like, if you were a stranger and you sat down with like a Trax of the Grand Unifier across to me or Shield of the Apocalypse and you were like, oh no, it's pretty good, but it's not that good. I'd be like, whatever. I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, but it's like
all the fate cards. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I build those decks. Like, again, speaking of power level, like another little kind of thing is like I've played my Shieldred deck with you guys multiple times. It's like I class my Shieldred deck as one of my more powerful ones.
Right.
But I play it against you guys, knowing that you're not going to play a deck that is as powerful as that. But I know, because of our group, that if I play Shieldred, I know that I'm the target. So it's a 3-on-1 game to start the moment she comes out. So it's like, it's okay. It seems to balance itself in that I'm playing powerful cards in a powerful deck against a less powerful set of decks. But I know that it's still 3-on-1 at that point. So that power level kind of balances because it's more I'm playing against everyone, whereas everyone's kind of playing against each other, but mostly trying to kind of keep
You're
me
playing
at bay.
a game of Survivor, and everyone else is playing. When you play a deck like that.
Yeah, the 4-player format does kind of like smooth out the curve too, which is really nice. Like even if you have like a bad rule 0 and like the decks are not super aligned, you know, we have teammates all the time. You can make deals, you can do politics, you can fuck people up for no reason. Like there's space for it to sort of level itself off, which is nice also, especially if you're familiar with the people.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest challenges in a non-familiar pod, where it's a pod of complete strangers, and you're like, okay, I'm playing this deck, and everyone's like, ooh. But then it's like, who do you building that kind of player engagement to be like, hey, let's team up against these, or don't kill me because I'll deal with that now, but then I will kill you next. It's interesting.
I mean, so the moral of the story is numbers are irrelevant.
Numbers are irrelevant. Rule 0 is everything.
Is everything.
Yeah.
That is
definitely.
Yeah. The only number that matters is 0. Rule 0.
Yeah.
Cool. That was a very good way to round out the conversation, shall we say?
Nice.
Because we have been chatting now for a good hour. Go team. Go us.
Look at us. It's like we're friends or something.
I know. We've not chatted for a while. But on that note, I'll go back into my little host mode. Our show, our little podcast here is called Cocktails and Counterspells, and part of that is because Hailey is our resident mixologist of the show, and we like to. Oh yeah, I mean you drank it now. We do like to create a cocktail for each episode based on a magic card that is relevant, prevalent, a fan fave of ours. So Hailey, I will hand over to you as you let everyone know about this episode's cocktail, and whilst you do that, a graphic will show up on screen with the recipe.
Yeah, so I mean, episode 3, I'm winding down our sort of little like intro to hosts. This is a card that Dan likes to play, Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, because of course he would play that card. It is a spicy margarita. It's 2 ounces of tequila, an ounce of either uzu soju or juice, an ounce of lime juice, and then 1 to 2 ounces of a gochujang honey. So it's kind of like a spicy Korean-inspired margarita. Approach with caution. You can, if you are bold, also salt the rim with some gochugaru flakes. Not required. But yeah, it's spicy, it's straightforward, and it'll get you going. Just like Jund.
Yeah. The
Very
best.
nice. Very nice. But yeah, drink responsibly or don't. It's your call. We do not hold ourselves responsible for what you do with these recipes that we provide.
It is always in the recipe, but you can always be creative.
Yes. But yeah,
artistic license.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, with that, I guess we will wrap up this episode. Hopefully it won't be like 3 months until our next conversation.
Yeah.
We'll be a little bit sooner. But yeah, until next time, enjoy Rule Zeros. Don't use numbers for power levels. Just talk about what the deck does and how it does it. And drink alcohol while playing Magic, because it's the right way to do it. Hey. And yeah, with that, we'll chat to you next time. Peace.
Secret video.
So, we are recording as a little secret bonus to Cocktails and Counterspells. We have a Outlaws of Thunder Junction collector booster that the one and only Hailey has, and we're going to rip it now. So, let's go. Let's see.
Since this is official, I got some tiny little scissors, baby.
Oh, they're so cute.
I don't want to accidentally tear anything, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You just don't cut through the cards.
Oh. As always, we got a nice little token. I'm trying to remember how it went. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go this way because I believe it goes from like common to uncommon.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this very well. Here we go.
There you go.
Make your own death. Harrier Strix.
Yeah, you can be my reader as I watch the camera to make sure I'm not out of frame.
Little desert.
Deals damage to 1 target opponent when it comes out.
Nice.
Okay.
Sweet.
+1/+1 counters. Who plays counters?
No one was Solemnity.
Yeah.
Oh, Jolene. Plundering Pugilist. Very nice.
I fucking love that snake horse.
I know.
It's funny.
Horrendous.
These things are like wild that come out. This town ain't big enough. That's what I mean. This deck is just full of LOLs everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cards?
Yep, yep.
'cause I pulled the Roadrunner card and it said, I
Wow.
was like, oh, it has X-proof against coyotes. I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
How could you?
Mm.
Lou, get out of here.
It's like in Murders at Karlov Manor, they had Scooby-Doo. Now we've got...
Yeah, that's right.
That's true. I think
I
someone
love
also
those
did-
lands.
I think it was also, oh yeah, the lands are pretty cool. I think it was also kind of a stretch. They said that they also had like Yu Yu Hakusho with the spirit detectives, and I lost my mind if that was true. Ooh, never will play
Nice.
that.
I do like those frames though.
Yeah, they are
Yeah, pretty
nice.
cool. Ooh, back for more. Nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
Rakdos joins up. I will say all the join up cards are by one of my favorite artists, so I was also like
Oh, nice.
super excited
Yeah.
to see that they were able to do all of the join up cards.
That's cool. Ooh.
Nice.
Nice.
That's a good one.
I have that card ready to put in my laser deck. Ooh.
Down to it. Ooh.
Ooh, another good one.
Very nice.
Wow, my magic powers. Again, okay.
Last.
Wow.
No way, another
No
one?
way.
Amazing. That was a good pack.
Not the textured foil, but I did pull the textured
Okay,
foil.
okay.
What?
Everybody's
a
favorite
dick.
himbo.
See, now
And
you
an
can sell the
elk.
textured. Now you can sell the textured and keep that one in a deck.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Yeehaw, baby.